For years, Canada and the United States, two close North American neighbors, have been known as symbols of global stability with their integrated economies and strong trade partnerships. However, recent developments suggest that this friendship is showing serious cracks. It all started with U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to impose a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports from Canada.
Steel tariffs on Monday.
On this tomorrow?
Monday, yeah, tomorrow.
What countries will those go on?
Everybody. Steel.
Exactly.
Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about
This move shook not only trade relations but also the diplomatic balance between the two countries. Canada did not remain silent in the face of Trump's actions. In response, Canada sent a clear message by imposing a 25% retaliatory tariff on U.S. products.
I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
U.S. trade pressure and is preparing to take its most critical step yet. Ottawa has announced that it will review its $13.2 billion F-35 fighter jet deal with the U.S. The administration is actively exploring alternatives to the U.S.-made F-35 stealth fighter and is in talks with rival aircraft manufacturers. This is the biggest signal yet that Canada is turning away from Washington and looking toward Europe. So why has Canada made such a bold decision? What does closer cooperation with Europe mean for Ottawa? How will this strategic shift affect the global balance? In addition to trade and tariffs, the U.S.-Canada relationship is also strained by technology and security concerns, particularly due to rumors about a potential kill switch. Some have raised concerns that, if Canada purchases these planes, the U.S. could remotely disable their systems at any time. Are these claims valid, or are they unfounded, as the Pentagon asserts? On top of all this, Canadian officials appear increasingly willing to engage with European manufacturers, stating, "We must remain independent from the U.S. in the future." So what is really going on? Do the kill switch allegations truly threaten Canadian national security? For answers to these questions and more, stay tuned for our video. Donald Trump's refusal to abandon his tariff policies is now affecting defense cooperation between the two countries. Canada had previously planned to purchase 88 F-35 fighter jets from the U.S., but the fate of this deal is now uncertain. Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has ordered a review of the contract with U.S. defense contractor Lockheed Martin.
Prime Minister, and we're also, it's a conversation taking place with the Canadian Armed Forces. Right now, we have undertaken to purchase 88 of the F-35 fighter jets,
said Canadian Defense Minister Bill Blair. However, the government is now examining possible alternatives to the American-made F-35 stealth fighter and is in discussions with other aircraft manufacturers. This is not just an arms deal. It is a signal of a shifting balance of power in North America. By taking a tough stance against U.S. trade pressures, Canada is not only reconsidering the F-35 purchase, but also seeking greater independence from Washington in multiple areas. Ongoing negotiations with Europe play a critical role in this process. On March 5, 2025, Canada's foreign minister officially announced that new cooperation opportunities were being explored with transatlantic partners. Behind closed doors, important discussions are reportedly taking place with European defense companies and government representatives regarding next-generation alternatives to the F-35 and integrated defense systems. On March 7th, the Department of Defense issued a brief yet clear statement. Canada's economy is based on diversity and strong financial fundamentals. Sovereignty and independence trump commercial pressures. These words indicate far more than just an aircraft purchase. They reflect Canada's broader goal of reducing dependence on the U.S. in critical areas such as cybersecurity, artificial intelligence-based defense systems, and advanced technology investments. On March 6th, a special session was held at the Ministry of National Defense, during which a report titled Risks of Foreign Dependence in Next-Generation Technologies was presented. The report is said to highlight the strategic risks of relying too heavily on a single country for defense capabilities, warning that such dependence could lead to long-term strategic dilemmas. The F-35 is a fifth-generation fighter jet, considered the pinnacle of modern combat technology. featuring a radar-reducing design and advanced avionics. However, almost all countries that purchase this aircraft are subject to varying degrees of U.S. technical control. This is because the F-35's software infrastructure, logistics system, and maintenance processes are all managed through a U.S.-based network. This is precisely where the kill switch rumors come into play. Does the U.S. have a hidden mechanism that could remotely disable these aircraft? This claim has surfaced frequently in social media posts and defense blogs. A kill switch is generally understood to be a software-based backdoor that allows the original supplier of a technology to disable or disrupt its operation. In this case, the concern is whether the U.S. could remotely shut down the F-35s of a country that falls out of favor with Washington. The Pentagon has repeatedly denied these allegations. In an official statement on March 14, 2025, U.S. officials stated, "There is no kill switch or similar function on the F-35 aircraft. There is no structure to prevent our partners from sovereign use." Lockheed Martin also publicly refuted these claims. However, skepticism remains among Canadian officials. Some argue that while the U.S. denies having a kill switch, its software requirements still create an excessive level of dependency. In particular, there is growing concern over issues such as the processing of maintenance data on U.S. servers and American control over telemetry transmissions. The F-35 program remains under U.S. control from its design to its logistics, meaning user countries do not have full access to the aircraft's most critical software. Some partner nations have even faced restrictions when requesting to integrate their own mission computers. Over time, this has fueled suspicions that the U.S. may have included a remote disabling feature in the aircraft. Although the Pentagon once again denied the existence of a kill switch, in an official statement dated March 17, 2025, U.S. allies like Canada remain uneasy. The lingering question is, what if the truth is different? Some experts argue that remotely blocking an aircraft is not impossible, especially with advances in drone technology and artificial intelligence. For this reason, they do not dismiss the kill switch claim as mere conspiracy theory. Given the tensions between Canada and the Trump administration, there is concern that the U.S. could potentially use this as leverage in critical moments. This fear played a role in Canada's recent decision-making. On March 13, 2025, two senior officials, Prime Minister Mark Carney and Defense Minister Bill Blair, made headlines with a bold statement. If the U.S. does not reconsider its tariffs, the F-35 deal could be canceled. A day later, on March 14th, they addressed the kill switch issue, stating, "The Pentagon denies it, but software dependency remains a serious concern. European alternatives are on the table." According to social media sources, this statement was officially released to the press. It is unusual in Canadian history for officials of this level to express national security concerns so openly. The reaction within Canada has been divided. Some media outlets have criticized the government, questioning the logic of burning bridges with Washington. Others, however, have voiced support, arguing, "We are right. Canada no longer needs to kneel to U.S. impositions." The kill switch debate has fueled rhetoric centered on national pride and sovereignty. Beyond the software concerns, Canada's reconsideration of the F-35 is also influenced by maintenance costs and long-term dependence on the U.S. Many experts now suggest that the aircraft itself could pose a risk to Canadian national security. At the same time, Trump's tariffs and his occasional rhetoric about Canada being treated as the U.S. 51st state have strengthened Ottawa's resolve to push back against his administration's policies. These developments indicate that Canada is actively preparing alternative plans, both Plan B and Plan C, to reduce reliance on Washington and forge stronger ties with Europe instead. This shift comes amid growing concerns over the unpredictability of U.S. foreign policy under President Trump, as well as broader strategic considerations regarding defense cooperation and technological dependencies. Canada's contract for the U.S.-made F-35 fighter jets is valued at 19 billion Canadian dollars, with the deal initially set to be finalized in 2023. Lockheed Martin won the bidding process, beating out Saab AB and Boeing Co. The agreement, aimed at replacing Canada's aging fleet of CF-18 Hornets, includes the purchase of 88 F-35s. The contract is divided into phases, and Canada has already made a legal funding commitment for the first 16 jets. Currently, the Canadian Air Force operates approximately 76 CF-18 Hornets, which have been in service since 1982. These aircraft were originally acquired to replace the aging CF-100 Canucks and were designed as multi-role fighters capable of both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. Although the CF-18s have received multiple upgrades over the years, including improvements to avionics, radar, and weapon systems, they are now nearing the end of their operational lifespan. The F-35 program, spearheaded by the U.S. and developed by Lockheed Martin, has been a cornerstone of NATO's defense strategy. Canada has spent years negotiating the acquisition of these advanced jets, but now that commitment is under reassessment. This shift is primarily driven by Ottawa's desire to reduce dependence on the U.S. military-industrial complex, particularly as Washington's foreign policy under the Trump administration has become increasingly unilateral and unpredictable. For decades, Canada's defense strategy has been closely tied to its alliance with the U.S. However, recent developments suggest that Ottawa is reevaluating this relationship and considering new directions for its national security and military investments. Under President Donald Trump, concerns have grown over Washington's approach to global security and defense commitments. The America First doctrine and an increased U.S. focus on domestic priorities have contributed to the perception that America's traditional alliances, particularly those in North America, are eroding. Canadian Defence Minister Bill Blair's recent statements signal that Canada is willing to explore alternative defence options that provide greater strategic autonomy, increased control over procurement, and a more stable geopolitical partnership. The F-35, with its high cost and heavy reliance on U.S.-based maintenance and logistics, has become a symbol of Canada's military dependence on Washington. Blair's remarks also highlight a broader concern: technological sovereignty. As one of the world's most advanced fifth-generation fighter jets, the F-35 Lightning II was developed under U.S. leadership with contributions from allied nations, including Canada. Initially, there were discussions about manufacturing certain F-35 components in Canada, reinforcing its role in the program. Defense experts widely regard the F-35 as one of the most groundbreaking aircraft of the 21st century. It boasts features such as radar-evading stealth technology, advanced sensors, and superior network connectivity. However, for Canada, committing to a platform that is not only expensive but also deeply dependent on U.S. infrastructure raises significant concerns about long-term sustainability and security. The political and economic instability surrounding the Trump administration, coupled with growing calls for greater autonomy in Canada's defense strategy, has led Ottawa to explore alternatives. This shift is driven by a broader desire to reduce dependence on foreign military technology and diversify Canada's defense partnerships. Canada's search for alternatives could lead it to consider aircraft such as France's Dassault Rafale, Sweden's Saab Gripen, or even the pursuit of an indigenous fighter development program. The Swedish Saab Gripen has long been viewed as a viable alternative to the F-35 for Canada. Known for its cost-effectiveness, flexibility, and proven operational performance, the Gripen offers a modern yet affordable solution. It is currently operated by Sweden, Brazil, South Africa, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Thailand, and the United Kingdom. Given Canada's existing defense relationships with European nations, including Sweden, the Gripen could align well with Ottawa's strategic vision of strengthening ties with NATO allies outside of the U.S. Designed to be a cost-efficient, versatile fighter for both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions, the Gripen is built for operation in challenging environments. Its advanced avionics, combined with its ability to function in extreme conditions, make it particularly well-suited to Canada's defense needs. One of the key advantages of the Gripen is its affordability. Unlike the F-35, which has been criticized for its high operational costs and dependence on U.S. logistical support, the Gripen offers advanced capabilities at a fraction of the price. This makes it an appealing option for NATO countries looking to modernize their air forces without overextending their defense budgets. The Gripen's lower life cycle costs, particularly its efficient maintenance requirements, ensure long-term sustainability. Unlike the F-35, which is deeply integrated into U.S. control systems, the Gripen provides greater operational independence. For countries like Canada and Portugal, which prioritize strategic autonomy, this is a crucial factor in defense planning. Several European defense experts have raised concerns that the United States could use a kill switch to disable or manipulate F-35 operations in foreign countries. While Belgian and Swiss military officials have dismissed such fears as speculation, many European defense analysts acknowledge that any F-35 fleet would be dependent on American-controlled maintenance, logistics, and software updates. Effectively, this means that the U.S. could exercise indirect control over any nation operating the aircraft. As Canada and Portugal reconsider their defense strategies, Serbia is reportedly looking to take advantage of this shift. With its combination of affordability, operational independence, and advanced technology, the Gripen presents itself as an attractive alternative for nations seeking to reduce reliance on the U.S. defense industry and mitigate Washington's political influence. Another option under consideration is the French Dassault Rafale, a multi-role combat aircraft used by numerous countries worldwide. Its versatility, capable of performing air superiority, attack, and reconnaissance missions, makes it a compelling alternative. France's military industry has a long history of cooperation with Canada, which could facilitate smoother negotiations for integration into the Canadian Armed Forces. The Rafale's combat-proven performance in various theaters, including deployments in the Middle East and Africa, underscores its reliability in real-world conditions. Its combination of advanced radar, sensor systems, and multi-role capabilities positions it as a highly effective platform for a range of operations. The Eurofighter Typhoon, developed by a European consortium comprising the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, and Spain, is another viable alternative. Primarily designed as an air superiority fighter, the Typhoon also boasts multi-role capabilities, making it a versatile choice for Canada's defense needs. Equipped with advanced AESA radar, superior maneuverability, and high-speed performance, the Typhoon is regarded as one of the most formidable air combat platforms in the world. Having proven its capabilities in NATO operations, it is already in service with multiple European air forces. For Canada, adopting the Typhoon could provide a strong European alternative, enhancing interoperability with NATO allies while securing a highly capable air combat solution. Another potential option is the Boeing F/A-18 Super Hornet, already in service with several NATO countries. A highly capable multi-role fighter, the Super Hornet excels in both air superiority and strike missions. Given that Canada's current fleet includes the legacy F/A-18 Hornet, transitioning to the Super Hornet could offer operational efficiencies, including shared parts and training systems. The Super Hornet is well known for its combat performance and versatility, having been deployed in numerous conflict zones. While Canada does not operate aircraft carriers, the Super Hornet's carrier-based capabilities could provide added flexibility in joint NATO operations. The Lockheed Martin F-16V Viper, a modernized version of the classic F-16, is also under consideration. Featuring advanced avionics, including the AN/APG-83 AESA radar, the F-16V presents a more cost-effective alternative to the F-35. The aircraft is highly capable in both air-to-air and air-to-surface missions and is widely used by many NATO allies. Its significantly lower cost compared to the F-35 makes it an appealing option for countries looking to modernize their fleets without the financial burden associated with fifth-generation stealth fighters. Its combat-proven performance and multi-role capabilities ensure its continued relevance on the modern battlefield. Canada could also explore the possibility of developing a domestic fighter jet program, though this would be a far more complex and costly endeavor. Advances in defense and aerospace technology have positioned Canadian defense manufacturers to potentially create an indigenous fighter aircraft. Doing so would not only reduce dependence on foreign technology, but also strengthen Canada's defense industry and innovation sector. A homegrown program could allow Canada to tailor its fighter to specific operational needs, ensuring greater independence from foreign suppliers while reinforcing national security. Another potential long-term option for Canada is the United Kingdom's Tempest program. This next-generation fighter, still in development, is being led by the UK with participation from Italy and Sweden. Designed to incorporate cutting-edge technology, the Tempest will feature artificial intelligence, stealth, and autonomous systems, making it an attractive prospect for future combat requirements. Although the aircraft is not expected to enter service until the 2030s, the Tempest could provide Canada with access to next-generation military technology and an opportunity to collaborate with European allies. However, given the aging state of Canada's CF-18 fleet, an interim solution will be necessary before Tempest becomes a viable option. Beyond the technical and geopolitical aspects, any decision regarding Canada's fighter jet procurement carries significant economic implications. Canada's defense budget has been under scrutiny for years, with advocates arguing that modernization is necessary to maintain military competitiveness. The choice of an alternative to the F-35 will not only impact procurement costs but also long-term expenses related to maintenance, training, and operations. Opting for a system with greater operational independence could help create a more sustainable cost structure, mitigating the financial burden associated with the highly specialized nature of the F-35 program. Strategically, Canada's willingness to explore alternatives reflects a broader desire to assert greater independence in defense policy. As global military alliances shift and U.S. foreign policy remains unpredictable, Ottawa's reconsideration of its reliance on American-made fighter jets signals a recognition that national security interests must adapt to evolving political realities. The discussion surrounding Canada's defense procurement is part of a broader trend of shifting attitudes toward U.S.-Canada relations. A recent survey found that 42% of Canadians would take active steps to avoid purchasing U.S.-made products, a significant figure considering that Canada imported over $300 billion worth of American goods in 2024. This trend is not limited to consumer preferences. Despite former President Trump's insistence that the U.S. does not need Canada, the reality is that the two economies are deeply interconnected. Canadian heavy crude accounts for approximately 52% of U.S. oil imports, with refineries along the Gulf Coast and in the Midwest optimized for processing it. While alternative suppliers exist, such as Venezuela, shifting refineries to accommodate lighter, sweeter crude would be neither simple nor inexpensive. Additionally, Canadian power companies export significant amounts of electricity from Ontario and Quebec to sustain Michigan, Minnesota, and much of the U.S. Northeast. Canada is also a critical supplier of key minerals, providing the U.S. with 50% of its primary nickel imports and 60% of its refined zinc imports. Furthermore, Canadian potash, a crucial potassium-based agricultural input, is essential for U.S. farming, particularly in the Midwest, where soil lacks sufficient potassium for high-yield harvests. Canada is the world's leading potash producer, and the U.S. imports roughly 80% of its potash from its northern neighbor. If Canada were to impose export surcharges or caps on potash, the U.S. would be forced to seek alternative suppliers in Belarus, China, or Russia. From food security to energy stability, Canada remains an indispensable partner to the United States. This is equally true in the military sphere. Under the framework of NORAD, the U.S. and Canada jointly protect North America from adversarial threats, including China, Russia, and North Korea. The two militaries operate side by side under a unique joint command structure, ensuring rapid response capabilities in case of an airborne or maritime threat. Following the 9/11 attacks, Canada fought alongside the United States in Afghanistan, where 158 Canadian Armed Forces members lost their lives in combat against the Taliban. As a member of the Five Eyes Intelligence Sharing Alliance, Canada plays a crucial role in intercepting signals intelligence, particularly through its northernmost listening stations that monitor foreign military activity, including intercontinental ballistic missile tests. The Canadian Forces Station Alert, located in the Arctic territory of Nunavut, remains the world's northernmost permanent military installation. In short, the past few months have been turbulent for U.S.-Canada relations. Tariffs have been imposed and lifted, sometimes on the same day, creating uncertainty in the trade and defense sectors. The key questions remain. Will Trump continue retaliatory measures? If so, what is his ultimate objective? How far will Canadian nationalism go in response? And which country might be next to feel the effects of shifting U.S. policy? At the current pace, the answers may soon become clear. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to stay updated with our latest content.